Rhino is what I feel like my dad would play if he played Warframe, which is awesome. Any dads playing Rhino out there, salute. God bless your service. Trinity, what I feel like my mom would play if she played Warframe. Grendel is what I feel like your mom would play if she. I'm kidding. Okay. Welcome, gang, to the Warframe main Slander tier list, where we're taking a look at how I feel about certain frames and the players who play them. This video is a little bit unique, so let me know if there's, something you enjoy here or don't enjoy here, or if I should just stick to being a guide maker. This tier list is based on my experience with the players / mains of the different Warframes. Maining in Warframe isn't something that everyone does, but most players do have 3 to 5 frames they enjoy playing disproportionately more than others. Half the ranking, it lays in the merit of the frame itself, and half the ranking is for the pilot of the frame. I'm not too negative of a person, so I won't be too mean, but I have some bones to pick in a few places. Don't forget to like, sub, all that crap, and let's take a look at the tiers. So an S tier, this is the best friend / romantic lover tier. This is for my favorite humans on the earth and some of my favorite frames. Again, priority is a bit on the person playing the frame, but you get a frame in a mission, you don't get to meet everyone that you play with, so just what I like to see. A is good friend tier, pretty self-explanatory. B is associate. This is basically co-worker tier, to be honest. Hopefully that makes sense. And C is a little stinky. That's as negative as we're getting here. I'll crack a few jokes here and there, but I try not to be like a negative drama channel, so that's how it goes. Let's get started. Well, this wouldn't be too honest of a tier list if I didn't put my mains on the line, so here we have Harrow, Cyto9, Protea, Ivara, and Kome. Harrow players think they're better than everyone else, and they are. Kome players think they're better than everyone else, and they are not. Harrow, start with Harrow. Harrow is interesting because he's a support that nobody ever needs. I feel Harrow mains definitely, actually the people who claim they main things, a lot of them are Harrow players because this frame's just the GOAT. I really love Harrow players. It's a real dedication. You're giving support that nobody needs. So you get to pick between okay, your CC is really just a personal shield gen. Penance, really like the healing is just not needed. Thurible energy crisis was solved like 7 years ago or whatever. And Covenant and Retaliation, you get to choose, first off, to choose between the two that you can't really manipulate. If you use Lasting Covenant, then you're you don't get the invulnerability anymore. And you don't know if enemies are going to be aiming for, if your teammates are going to be aiming for the head, or if your teammates are going to let you absorb some damage. Harrow is the most fake support I've seen in my entire life, but he's still a GOAT. And I love him to death, and I love the players who play him to death. Kome is a lot more fun. Also, Harrow goes in S tier. Sorry, I'm trying to be more aware of my audio only viewers. Just be patient with me. Especially with a list of 62 Warframes, it can be a little tricky. Kome is going in the A friend tier. Kome is a lot more fun when you don't got someone in your ear telling you she's bad. The only thing more annoying than the Kome stands is the Kome haters. I swear to God, the whole trend lasted way too long. This frame's fine. Really fun to play. Omakuji, the whole decree, she needs a few more decrees. Her 1 and 4 are anti-synergistic to no end, and obviously, it is obnoxious that Kome players, a lot of them refuse to acknowledge that she has some shortcomings and feels a little rushed sometimes. So yeah, I'll knock her down to co-worker tier actually. I'll spike the Kome haters actually. This frame's fine, and I like people that play her. It's definitely a lot of dedication to make this frame work. She is only viable in one piece of content, which is endurance content. Not viable, but strong in that content. And that's the content I enjoy, so I'll put her in friends here. Cyto9 is going in best friend romantic lover tier. I love this frame. Straight fundamentals. Warframe's the only game where shooting someone through 20 meters of concrete and killing 4 other people is an ethical thing to do. I love this Warframe. This is no helmet needed, just straight gas. I love Cyto9. I love people that play him. Actually, now I think about it, do I think I'm better than everyone because I play headshot frames? A little bit. Yeah, I'm a piece of shit. But yeah, I love Cyto9. I mean, everything from his exalted weapon to seek to resupply being a cool piece of, even though I pick the same bullets every time, it's a cool piece of utility where you can, in multiple situations you get to pick multiple things. Evade is my favorite ability in the whole game. Basically, it's sick. Ivara, all 7 of you. How you doing? With sampling error, that's probably 0.2 of you here. How you doing? I'll see you at the meeting. Not the Ivara player meeting, but the AA meeting, because playing with the game with Prowl after playing the game with any other frame makes you want to drink. Not being able to move through their maps properly in a game like Warframe is so absurd. I've gotten used to it, and I have 4 parkour velocity shards on Ivara, but oh my god, it's actually abuse. It's the fact that DE hasn't changed Prowl to modernize it is illegal, I swear. I'll put Evara in A tier for friend. Not my favorite, and also there just aren't any of you. My sample size again is not very big. So yeah, I feel also Koei players should probably get their gambling addiction checked out. And then last but not least, Protea. I have some beef with Protea. Protea, in my view, took away what a Valbon rework could have been. I played Valbon for a very long time. Warframe took over the incident, and things haven't been the same. And then they put Valbon's rework onto a bad bitch and gave her time a single time manipulation ability. I love this frame. I love the people who play her. I think that she's very simple. I like having dispensary. I like having shield satellites. It's all gravy. But you took away everything from my lover, Valbon, who I miss desperately. Valbon's going in best friend romantic lover tier. I really miss him. I like this frame needs some love. Can he work? Absolutely, but I just want more for him, and Protea took that away, and I'm pretty upset about it. Rhino is what I feel like my dad would play if he played Warframe, which is awesome. Any dads playing Rhino out there, salute. God bless your service. Trinity, what I feel like my mom would play if she played Warframe. Grendel is what I feel like your mom would play if she... I'm kidding. Okay, so your mom being fat jokes aside, Rhino's great because I like people with a little bit of that tism, people who have those little itches. If you just like stacking Rhino Iron Skin and that is why you play Warframe, that is why you log in and type in your password every day, God bless you. That's what I'm talking about. I like having Roar on my team as well. I swear to God, every week on the Warframe subreddit, I just see a Rhino player who's like, yeah, I like eating Jade Light Exodus. That's my thing. I like, good for you, bro. Good for you, man. Keep huffing that glue. God bless your soul. Rhino makes it into the romantic lover tier, best friend tier. Trinity is a similar case as Harrow, where it's like nobody super needs what Trinity is offering, in my opinion. Energy Econ was fixed 70 years ago. Well of Life is actually really good. The res plus status immunity, I can't lie, is actually pretty solid. Energy Vamp, nobody needs that shit really, except for Trinity herself sometimes to spam Blessing properly. And then Blessing, the DR is nice, but it doesn't really last long enough. The heal is nice for Trinity herself, but her teammates don't really need it. And like also a big part of this conversation is this, I'm talking about like I'm in like late, like I'm not as late game as it gets, but basically as late game as it gets. And so like things like Energy Econ and healing just have less value to me. I'm sure if you're like in like basic star chart, maybe you don't have the equipment and Trinity is like a godsend to you and keeps you all alive. It is like Thanos. For me, that's just not the case. So just be aware of that bias that exists here. But you still playing Trinity despite not needing, you know, her being outclassed by things like Wisp, in my view, is a big component. So that puts Rhino and Trinity both in us best friend tier, because I just respect you for playing that frame despite where they're at in the case of Trinity. And then with Rhino, it's like, dude, I like big numbers too, man. That's what I'm all about. Grendel goes in S tier as well. Sorry about your mom being fat joke. That was mean. But the reason that Grendel belongs in S tier is mainly due to a bias I have. So I believe that there are like 20 to 25 Warframes who are the top third best frames in the game. And there's a bottom 2/3, and you can argue that it's divided into like a middle third, a top third, and a bottom third. My case is more adjacent to a top third and a bottom 2/3. So if you play a Warframe who is in the bottom 2/3, which in my view Grendel is, no Warframes are bad, but they're worse than the top third. I like you more because I know you're playing that frame because you want to play that frame, not because they're strong. You like voring people and regurgitating them out and nuking them with their chewed up best friend. Like that, you enjoy that. That's why you're playing Grendel, not because of Nourish, not because of whatever. You know, you know what I'm saying? I like that. Also, Grendel is hard to fashion frame for, and I've seen you guys do it. God bless you, man. This frame is hard to make work in the fashion frame department, and I just think Grendel players are passionate about their frame. They're passionate about moving fast too. Speaking of which, Gauss, which I mispronounced in my top 10 video, sorry about that. I'm making you guys a guide to apologize for that. Gauss is going with his best friend in the best friend tier. That seems only fitting to me. Gauss players, it's similar to Rhino, where you just have a hyperfixation about moving fast. I see these videos on a TikTok where it's just Gauss players installing every single speed mod that they possibly can and using every single like augment or whatever to get incarnate and all this stuff to get as much speed as possible until they tear their like FOV into shreds and you can't like know what's going on the screen anymore. That's beauty. That's grace. A wall is now in your face because you're playing Gauss and you're eating concrete. I love this frame. I love people that play it. You can when you meet a Gauss player, my bad, you'll know. Just trust me. Oh shoot, I meant to start with these. Okay, never mind. Okay, so the starter frames. Excalibur. I feel like if I left, like, this is like Excalibur players are the most honest, God-fearing players in the world. I'll put you in A tier. If I left $20 in the work break room with Excalibur, I would come back to 40. Like, this frame is so honest and chill, and like, is your entire kit Exalted Blade and Radial Javelin? Maybe. With Furious Javelin specifically. Maybe. Who's to say? Not me, right? But it's just an honest kit. Spam slash dash for Invuln. People who still play Excal in the current year are just based as fuck. That's just how it works. Volt. If I left $20 in the work break room with Volt, it would certainly go missing. However, it would be used to buy weird niche speed mods off of Warframe.market, and I can kind of respect that a little bit. Volt is a similar case as Gauss, but I have to knock him down. It's a kind of a Trinity player thing, or Titania player thing. The amount of times I've been sped up by a Volt against my will, I know you can backflip out of it, leave me alone. Volt has done some very mean things to me in the past as a Titania player, and I gotta knock him down to coworker tier because he's upset me too many times. But I do like this frame. Mag was my starter. My beautiful angel. I love this Warframe to death. However, I do think Mag players have a superiority complex over Excal and Volt players. Because, like, oh, I'm the intellectual. I'm using magnetism, while those meathead Excal players and those powder sniffing Volt I can't say what powder it is because this is YouTube. You know what I'm saying? But Mag is not that hard of a frame. Okay, don't be dramatic. You press 2, you shoot the bullets into the bubble, and then you're done. Okay, don't be dramatic about it. But this frame is so much fun to play, and because she was my starter frame for the first she was my most played because she was my starter. She's my most played on my account for like 6 years. Okay, that's a little over half the time I've been playing this game. That's incredible. I love Mag. She's making it to S tier. So that's Excal in A, Volt in B, Mag in S. I'm gonna move on to the loot frames. We'll start with Necros. I'm gonna put Necros in S tier. I think there's kind of this like a binary way to play it. Well, not binary. Nope. Nightmare frame jump scare. He comes out of a corner. Hey, non-binary. Kidding. Jokes. Anyway, basically Necros there's two kinds of Necros players, right? So there's the Necros mains, which is like you play Necros because he's a Necromancer, instantly based, instantly cool, got it. Necros is cool. Then there's the other Necros player, and that's the Necros player who plays Necros not because they want to, but because their squad wants the extra loot. And at that point, you're kind of like just sacrificing your fun, because I find Necros incredibly boring beyond belief. You're sacrificing your fun to give your teammates extra loot. At that point, you're just based. I mean, you play Necros, you're sick as fuck either way, and we appreciate your work endlessly. He's not really a loot frame, but I'll slide him in there. I like Atlas. I think Atlas is really cool. Atlas players are simple. It's kind of a similar thing to the Volt, Gauss, and Rhino thing, where you are just a little bit of a meathead, and I think I like that about you. I like that you press that one key as best as you can. It really wouldn't matter too much if every other keyboard besides your one was stripped of you. You'd be just fine, and I appreciate that about you, and I like you. Where's Hydroid? Hydroid pisses me off. I don't like Hydroid that much, purely because the tentacles really bother me. I don't like abilities that displace enemies like that. Hydroid players are probably great. I like the extra loot, but I will say I'm just not a fan of the tentacles. It really, really bothers me. I guess I feel like, you know, coworker is not an insult. I feel like putting Hydroid in coworker tier is totally acceptable. Where is our Korra? Oh, Korra. Korra players, man, is this the first a little stinky? I feel like it might be. Korra players remind me of the meta. I hear Whipclaw in my sleep sometimes. Yeah, okay, I feel kind of mean, but like this frame in this frame just reeks of meta and has been literally strong forever, and I kind of don't like that, which makes me feel a little toxic. But Korra will be our first a little stinky. Do I like the extra loot? Yeah. Do I absolutely despise Strangledome and hit? I'm a precision player. I play Hero in Slido 9. You want me to hit an enemy? I guess skill issue on my part, quite frankly, if I can't hit a Strangledome enemy. But Strangledome like actually irks me to no end. I am not a huge fan. Okay, so earlier I mentioned that binary, not binary. Yeah, we'll do Temple in a second. Okay, Mr. Frame, don't worry. Lavos. So Lavos starts in friend tier. However, if you play Lavos before Valence Formation came out, you go into like S plus 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 tier. There's a whole new wave of fake Lavos players who are only playing Lavos because Valence Formation is strong as shit. If you played this frame before that augment came out, you are just the GOAT. That's a fact. Because of the disproportionate amount, I'm gonna put you in friend tier. But just know, if you're a real Lavos player, I can see it in your soul. I can see it in your eyes. You cannot hide from me. Ashe. Ashe is the Space Ninja Supreme. Ashe players like, Ashe kind of feels like Rock Lee in like Naruto, where he's like an actual space ninja. Meanwhile, like Noko is like throwing like radioactive mushrooms, nuking people for like 10 lifetimes. So yeah, I like Ashe a lot. It's straight fundamentals. Smoke bomb's pretty cool. The shadows work really funky. If you've been playing Ashe for a long time and you can deal with the patience of his new Blade Storm, I just respect you immensely for that. That requires a lot of dedication to the frame that you really like. Ashe is an actual assassin who does assassin things instead of nuking entire maps all the time, and I can respect that a lot. Oh, where do I want to go next? Loki. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay, so Loki is going. Oh god, yeah, Loki's going into romantic partner tier. Let me explain myself before I get flamed. Yeah, Loki's outdated, I get it. If you have played Loki from like when he was meta in like the raids / trials to now, you are going to be an amazing romantic partner. You won't cheat on anyone with anyone. Like, you very clearly like what you like and are still playing it despite the ever-changing world. And that's something I can respect a lot about Loki players. Your frame desperately needs some kind of buff or rework, and you still stick with him. And that is just that is poetic. That is beautiful. Let's move on to, oh, that way we don't scare anyone. Let's do Temple. Everyone close your eyes and ears. Temple is pretty cool. I will admit, I really have a bias against flamethrowers. But if you really like Temple's little mini game, I think that's something I enjoy. So we'll put Temple in a friend tier. Totally acceptable, fun frame to play. I just don't see Temple players very often, which is weird because I feel like a lot of players would like them. The only thing is, I think it's because you get them so late in the game. The flamethrower and like the raw power that Temple provides is a little less appealing because you're already in 1999. You've probably already got a decent build, I have to imagine. So maybe they're just not as appealing. I'm not really sure, quite frankly, to be totally honest. I think Temple's a really fun frame. Speaking of really fun frame, fun guy, Noko. I love this frame. I love Noko players. I think it's very silly. If we were having like more of a meta conversation here, Noko's going in S tier, by the way. If we were having more of like, I'm a very friendly guy, as I'm sure you could imagine from this list. Noko, if we're talking like a meta sense, I have a lot more negative things to say, but like Noko's so fun to play. I love having those stupid little mushrooms, those stupid little sprawlings in my mission. Dude, it gives me so much joy. This frame is joy pilled. I love Noko to absolutely no end. Let's talk about Corvex, because Corvex sits in like the hero spot where, god, I really have a lot of best friends, huh? That's okay, that's a good thing. Anyway, Corvex is unique in kind of like the same sense of Harrow, where like Corvex mains, I see them on the subreddit all the time. Very passionate concrete bricks of humans. I respect that a lot. Corvex players very much like their Warframe, and people that are passionate about their Warframe, again, I talked about with Grendel, like the bottom 2/3 thing. I do think Corvex is a bottom 2/3 Warframe. So people who play Corvex just like Corvex, and they just like shooting a giant beam. Like, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna not like that? How am I gonna not appreciate that? Like, get over yourself. Come on. Oh, Neja. Never ask a Neja hater what kind of people they're into, am I right? So Neja probably goes in, I don't know. We'll put Neja in coworker tier, I think, even though I really want to put him in C tier. If you played Neja before Divine Retribution, it's kind of like a Lavos thing. You're kind of the GOAT. Neja really annoys me because it does really feel like there is one playstyle for him. Oh god, I'm gonna put Neja in a little stinky. I don't want to be known as an anti-femboy channel because I support and love everyone. I'll have a femboy coworker. I can tolerate that. I don't like the Divine Retribution. Feels like it's a mandatory on every Neja build, and I don't care for that. I don't care for how the frame operates as like a weird knockoff Rhino. You play Neji, God bless your soul, but you're just gonna be a coworker to me, and I hope that's okay. Moving to Saren. Saren. I mean, I'll put Saren in coworker tier, specifically because I think the frame just doesn't really offer a whole lot to a team setting, and like every Saren player, it does reek of meta a little bit. So like, I don't know. I have a, let me explain. I have to do some content creator lore. So the only reason I beef with a lot of the meta picks is, first of all, because that's just, I am naturally biased against meta. I like making funny, silly, goofy things work for the most part. Also, I'm mildly annoyed by people like saying they're struggling with something or saying they're not having fun with something in Warframe, and then someone in the comments is just like, oh yeah, just play Korra, bro, just play Saren, bro, it's super easy. Like a new player is clearly trying to make, like, I don't know, what was a weaker Warframe at some point, Oberon work or whatever, and like they're struggling, and you're like, bro, just pick Saren, bro, just pick Korra, bro, trust. Like, that is really obnoxious to me, and I've seen a lot of that case with Saren. Also, I think Saren's gameplay, the weapon platform gameplay in specific, is just really boring, and I'm not a huge fan of it. So yeah, that's about it. Oh, Revenant. You're going to C tier, and it hurts me to do, because like, I'm sure you guys are great folks. I just don't like this frame's design, and I don't Revenant's Mesmer skin feels like I was on the playground in 5th grade, and like we're all making up superhero abilities, which this is what I did. I had people tell me this isn't what they did as a kid. I did it. We were making superhero abilities to fight with on the playground as kids. Mesmer skin feels like the one that like some super annoying kid made, and now you just can't interact with the game anymore. I don't like it. I wrote an entire rework for Revenant. I just don't like this frame, and the people who play him, I'm sure, are great. You might smell a little bit, nothing wrong with that. Everyone stinks a bit, every once in a while. Take a shower, go put something else. But yeah, I just don't care for Revenant's design. That spite is gonna go quite the way here, but a little stinky is not like I hate you or anything. I'm not a huge fan. But let's flip the script here and go to Garuda. I love Garuda. Garuda is one of the most interactive frames in the game. Like Dread Mirror, now Blood Altar kind of stinks, but that's like a helmet slot, which is, listen, the helmet slot I talked about with a commenter. Helmet slot is like the biggest Pandora's box that's ever been opened in terms of Warframe, where like I kind of love it and hate it equally at the same time. Maybe I'll make a video essay on it at some point. Having a dead Warframe ability in this case it's Blood Altar, is cool because you get to do innovative stuff, but also now like every Warframe has an excuse to have one poorly designed anti-synergistic or non-synergistic ability, which can be chalked up to being that is quite lame. But Garuda, in my view, people who play her, first of all, Garuda mains are also, there's a lot of you, by the way, in my top 10 Warframes. I see you, I respect you. Garuda is in the upper third of frames in my view. But this frame is so incredibly fun and interactive in the way that like not a lot of strong picks are. So if you want to do high tier upper third things on Garuda, you have to know Garuda much better than a lot of the other meta picks like Saren and Korra. That's my personal opinion. Baruch's cool. I'll put him in friend tier. I think Baruch is a little bit, first of all, I don't see him very much. Baruch's weird weakness of literally having too few enemies is such a unique one. Again, I don't see enough Baruch, but I know for sure that people who like the Baruch aesthetic, I could hang out with in real life. So I'll put you in friend tier. Let's move to Octavia. Oh, Octavia might go in a little stinky as well. So Octavia, first of all, is the meta conversation. I saw a lot of you guys in my top 10. First of all, again, a little stinky is not a I hate you. Okay, grow up. I'm allowed to poke fun. I just don't like the concept of your frame is to just have the enemies kill themselves on mallet, which is cool, and your kit's cool, by the way. The Manticore's awesome. The crouching, shooting, slashing to the beat is very cool, but like mallet's not a very interactive way to play the game. Octavia isn't boring because she's invis. Octavia's boring because she doesn't really have to do anything. Mallet does all the work. And I don't like that. I don't care for the game that plays itself. That's not why I play Warframe. As you can see, with some of my favorite picks here, I make the game as difficult for me as possible sometimes, especially in the case of Ivara. So yeah, I'll put Octavia in a little stinky. I'm sorry about it. I know there's a couple of you in my comments. I love you guys, but you smell a bit. Take a little shower. Play something else, Let's move to Wisp. I love Wisp for Different reasons than a lot of you guys do. I've seen a couple of you in my comment section. I know you like the Wisp Agile animation set. I know you see the heirloom skin coming out, and you set money from your paycheck aside. I respect you and I love you, but I like Wisp for a lot of different reasons. Wisp is a support in a game where supports are not appreciated. First of all, the things she provides in terms of the haste mote is really good. The vitality mote, actually increasing your health and giving health regen, is better than just the healing that Hero provides, which is really nice. I really like Brief Search a ton, blinding entire maps, making your damage do more damage. Pretty good stuff. Wisp generally runs Roar, which is very appreciated, and that power strength can get really high with Wisp because that you invest a lot into that. But also, the fact that Wisp uses a remote object to do the supporting, the motes, right? Oh, remote. Is that why it's called a mote? I don't think so. Anyway, the fact that you don't have to like be like in makeout distance of your Wisp to get the help that you need is so nice. I love Wisp for this, and people who play Wisp are my favorite. Wisp also has a big main community in the same way that I feel the Garuda, Harrow, and Corvex do. Wisp has a lot of mains, especially on YouTube. Actually, there's a couple of them, I believe. And yeah, Wisp is one of my favorite characters. Just the haste mode is amazing because in a lot of cases the vitality mode won't do a whole lot. The shock mode might even nerf your game mode a little bit. But the haste mode, I'll always take it, and the mote's always there. And if I die with a Wisp on my team, it is explicitly my fault. The mote was there. It's on the minimap. It's my fault if I die. Let's move to Zephyr. I have some feelings about Zephyr. Zephyr's going in co-worker tier, which is B tier. I love this frame, like conceptually. Playing her makes me I think she's actually my least favorite frame to play, unironically. And I don't want to be mean to like Zephyr players who enjoy her, because okay, listen, you can afford to be in B tier. You're playing one of the best frames in the game. Leave me alone. I hate playing this frame, and people talk about her like because she is hidden and broken. Nobody plays her. But I think people actually know that she's OP. They just don't like certain parts of her kit. For me, it's the execution. I don't enjoy it at all. I don't like her fashion frame either. People, I think, at this point, know Zephyr is broken. They just don't want to play her for whatever reason. Zephyr players act like it's still 2016, and it's, oh, you don't know if she's so broken, bro. Check this tech out. And it's just pressing 4. I get it. I understand. This frame is incredibly good. But you're going to co-worker tier. I've seen too much obnoxious behavior from Zephyr players, but I do get it. Your frame is really strong. You can afford taking co-worker tier. Okay, take it on the chin. Goodness. Oberon. Ooh, man, if you, I was gonna make the binary joke because like if you played Oberon before as rework, you're a real Oberon fan. I don't think there was a single player doing that. And so yeah, we'll put Oberon in A tier. I like this frame and I like the players who play him. I just don't see him very often. He's kind of a very traditional support. Armor is just not that useful. He's basically a walking passive, which really puts him in, yeah, you're going down to co-worker tier. He's basically walking righteous negation, which is his passive, which is like the weaker mesmer skin, like more balanced mesmer skin. And that's what keeps you out of C tier. I think his build's really cool. But he kind of becomes a generic nuke frame. So he's either a generic support or a generic nuke frame with Smite. And he has built-in limitations with Smite. So, again, I haven't met many Oberon players because his rework just happened, so people just remembered he existed. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan. Ureli players are very passionate, and normally I'd put you in S romantic lover tier, but y'all are crazy. Y'all are crazy people. And I'm just going to keep you in friend tier. I think this frame is a lot of fun to play. If you actually ride Miralina, I respect you. It would probably put you in best friend tier. But for me, I use loyal Miralina, which makes me a fake fan, which also is what keeps me out of putting her into S tier. This frame is really fun to play. It's just like certain tile sets. I really wish her 2 was like a tap hold cast, because there are some tile sets where I'm like, damn, I really wish I could ride Miralina here. That'd be a lot of fun. But then, like, I can imagine I would be inside of a Venus tile set and try to blow my shit clean off if I had to ride Miralina within that setting. So yeah, your fans are very passionate, so you're not going to coworker tier because then I'll get a pipe bomb sent to my house, but you're going in friend tier. Inaros, you can go into friend tier as well. Trying to not have too many best friends. I feel like that's a lot of my attention. I can't spread it all. Inaros players accepted being the worst frame in the game for a long time. I don't think Inaros is the worst frame in the game, especially anymore. He was kind of the butt of a joke for a long time, and Inaros players just kept playing him. That's a mental fortitude that I can respect a lot. The frame's definitely fine. I don't enjoy him very much as a melee frame. He's a pretty fun option. I wish there was more for him to do. His kit is a bit too generic, but he is cool. He is no doubt cool. Let's move to Limbo. Limbo, you make it into the, listen, okay, should I, oh god, okay, so my last video I talked about Limbo a bit, and the visual clarity on Limbo just stinks. I can't tell what's going on. I see a Limbo player once a year, you're still getting the stinky, you're still getting the C, and it's not your fault, it's not. Okay, you were born that way, and your kit, Limbo was just made that way. Limbo was made that way without the visual clarity. If they rework the visual clarity on Limbo, I know somebody suggested in my comments to make it like make rifted enemies like grayed out. I don't know. This frame desperately needs a VGU at minimum, so I can understand what's going on. It is incredibly. This frame frustrates me to no end. When there is a enemy on my screen I can't tell is rift bound, and I shoot them in the head, and I think I'm lagging because they're actually in the rift and I can't interact with them. Holy moly, it tilts me to literally no end. Okay, I grew up on a laptop with bad internet. Seeing lag triggers like a PTSD non-response. Okay, you need to understand that. Okay, good. Hildren is, you know, I like my muscle mommies, so Hildren's going up there basically by default, and I think because Hildren players like Hildren for the same reason I like Hildren, you know, we can all get along in the best friend romantic lover tier. I think that's totally acceptable. Nidus is going into the B tier. The reason for coworker tier for Nidus is because he has those little cysts, and I really hate taking 10 seconds out of my day to go get that cyst removed. I think that is super annoying. Cool little mechanic, but you're going into B coworker tier because I respect you for being viable in like 2 pieces of content. I really hope I talked about with a commenter, but Nidus needs like a lot of help, and Nidus also the Warframe, the game, is not helping Nidus at all where it's at currently. So hopefully Nidus gets some love in the future. I'll keep you in coworker tier, but this frame is really cool. Actually, I'll bump Nidus to A tier. Parasitic Link is an awesome power strength boost. Now I think about it, yeah, it's actually okay. Nidus goes in A friend tier mainly because of Parasitic Link. Varuna players just I've met some Varuna players. Definitely nothing against furries, you know, God bless you if you enjoy, you know, your life is your life, my life is my life. But I've met some absolute social freakazoids who play Varuna, and God bless you, really. You know, no beef, but I'll keep you as a coworker here, keep you at arm's length, nothing wrong with that. Zaku, our other non-binary goat, friend tier for sure. I really like what Zaku has going on. I like the spooky aesthetic. I like being a skeleton. I think a lot of players, again, a lot of these lists, like a lot of it is because I like Zaku, the same reason that Zaku players like Zaku. Just they're a lot of fun to play. It's really that simple. Dante, having Dante on my team feels like cheating. I'll put him in coworker tier for that reason. First of all, it seems like appropriate. Dante, I see my mission, I'm like, well, I don't. Dante's like the coworker that comes in at the end of the shift and just absolutely does all the work, finishes it all up, and you just get to go home happy. Dante is straight fundamental, like he just buffs everything, nerfs all the enemies. Dante is so strong. It's a little bit boring because you instantly win the mission, but you know, there are some days, especially with ETA, I get him and I'm like, thank God we won. Okay, I don't have to play like. If I get a bad roll in ETA, I still have to make it work. Dante makes it so that pressure is less so, and I really enjoy that. Kalervo, best friend tier for sure. I love this frame. I've made it very clear that I love this frame. People that play this frame, a little bit edgy. I see you, but that's okay. Me too. This frame's just fun. I love melee. The Collective Curse is a ton of fun. Having this frame on my team is a ton of fun. And he's pretty harmless. He just, not to the enemies, but to me. So he's in my team. I'm happy about it. I love Kalervo. You and I both love Kalervo. If you're a Kalervo player, that's just how that works. Taking a look at Styanax. I really like having Styanax on my team. I'll put him into friend tier. I think that Rally Point plus Nourish is one of my favorite energy restores in the game. It's just like so convenient. Intrepid Stand with the augment's great. He's just a good support. He's a great support, actually. I really like him a lot. And Styanax players, therefore, I like you a lot. Also, you've used the nipple tassel skin, God bless you. That's some real shit. I just think Styanax is super sick. It's very similar It's like a Rhino Light to me in terms of how much I appreciate the player. Stynex is just cool. Good fundamentals. Really great sound design on Stynex, by the way. So hearing him in my mission makes me really happy. I like Stynex a lot. Gara, I'm pretty indifferent about. That's kind of a coworker tier. I don't see much Gara. Okay, I play her basically every time I need to do low level nuking to help Baby Tenno, but that's kind of about it. A lot of these frames, as we kind of start listing them out, I'm gonna have less opinions on. Besides Wukong, ooh, do I just want to put you in C tier so bad, little man? Wukong players and the whole Wukong AFK thing and the meta thing. I'm sorry, if you're a good, honest, God-fearing Wukong player, that's good for you. But your ancestors precede you with violence and hate. And yeah, you're gonna go in a little stinky tier. I'm sure you're a great fella, but Wukong players and like the review bombing from when Wukong got changed and the ammo changes, just that had, I have to look at a very universal sense, and Wukong players were a huge part of that. And that sucks. Caliban, coworker tier. He's fine. I like him a lot. Infinite Shields is good. No complaints here. Maybe even friend tier for Caliban, but I'm trying to round out the list just a little bit. So yeah, okay, we'll put him in friend tier. I have no problem with Caliban. I like having the shields. I like having little friends. I think it's a cool frame. People that play him, absolutely chill. Having something that's close to a real summoner frame is really cool, and I like people who like summoners. That's something I can get along with in a very real sense. Equinox. Okay, Equinox is going in coworker tier because I got some beef. Equinox is one of the bigger, maybe not anymore, this was like a week ago, there was like a month-long period of like people saying, oh, Equinox is bad because of this, or Equinox is actually the best frame because of this. This frame needs help. This frame has like two abilities basically. Just because the frame can do level cap, just because the frame can do a giant nuke, doesn't make the frame good. It doesn't make them well designed, I should say, really. And that whole discourse, especially around my rework video, really bothers me, because it's like, you should want your frame, your main, to be a more updated, I'm not saying you should have everyone want to play your main, because ultimately some frames are going to have weird little niches and people aren't going to want to play when that's okay. Limbo, you little freaks, right? Like, that's totally fine, that's totally good. Your frame doesn't have to be universally liked. It's just that Equinox needs help. Like, that frame basically has two abilities, and just because the two abilities she works with currently are really great and you can level cap with her, doesn't mean the frame doesn't need some love. I feel like that discourse poisons the well and makes it so that certain Warframes don't get the buffs and changes that they absolutely deserve. So you end up in coworker tier. I do love Equinox though, and Equinox players, it's very similar to Loki, where it's like, you're still playing that frame, God bless you. Like, she needs help desperately, and that's kind of the same with Banshee. We'll put Banshee in. Put her in A tier. You play again, I don't see much Banshee. Okay, I really don't. But this frame is cool. If you're still playing her, I'm assuming you're playing her with Evade or Resonator. You're making her Gloom. You're making her work, and that's good. That's a real dedication to Banshee that I can appreciate a whole lot. Gyre. Where do I want to put Gyre? I like Gyre. I don't know, but I'm pretty indifferent. Yeah, we'll put her in coworker tier. I think she's just fine. I like, if you enjoy Gyre, that's good. Okay, no, I'll put you in A tier. Okay, Gyre, I feel bad because you basically lose out on 2 mod slots minimum, potentially 3 if you're playing this frame, and that deserves a friend. You need a friend to talk about that with. So I'll put you in friend tier. All right, moving on to Nova. Nova has been best friend tier purely because, like, having this frame it's a happy experience. Okay, you get Molecular Prime is like a warm hug to me, and therefore I love Nova players. That one is pretty simple. No complaints here. Wormhole is also really fun when you have a really good Nova player who is like conscientiously thinking about their wormholes for their teammates, but most Nova players aren't. But I've met a few of you. God bless you. Thank you. Araxia. I'm pretty indifferent about Araxia. This frame is very selfish in my view, and like that's totally okay. A lot of these frames are. She just doesn't do a whole lot for the team, and it's a very like she does her own thing, and I feel like that is semblant of a coworker, right? Jade is cool. I like Jade, going in friend tier. I like a lot of the build options she has. I think her kit is very diverse, has a lot going on, and people who play her are dedicated. If you don't know, there's this build with like Harass Kubra where you could use her new augment and Jade Light melt enemies. Like, this frame has so many options and like allows for a lot of creativity. I also just like the buffs she provides. I think that, you know, even the Jade Light debuff, the Power of the Seven, Hopefully Demise, like, this frame is just good. Also, like, I've actually been looked at funny by a Jade and got rezzed. I've done it to other players. I think that Jade's really unique, fun support, provides unique enough things. Again, support's kind of a weird, obviously this isn't like a frame quality or strength tier list, but having, like, being a support that provides unique things that other supports can't provide, puts you in a unique spot that I like a lot. Most of these frames I don't have super big opinions on, but we'll run through them real quick. Chroma. Chroma is a coworker, along with Mirage. These two frames do similar things. Mirage does them infinitely better, but they are just damage buffers. Chroma is nice. Actually, Chroma goes in friend tier, Mirage goes in coworker, because Mirage won't share her buffs with me unless she equips an augment, and usually you go no range on Mirage, so a total eclipse doesn't reach me ever. Chroma will provide his buffs to me, which is very nice of him. He's a little less selfish. Also, the gold multiplier stuff is pretty cool. I do have a Chroma rework written, and I will be published. I know a lot of people commented on Chroma in the last video I made, and Chroma's rework will be either my next video or the video after next. Citrine. Holy support. Oh god, okay, we're gonna have to make new, yep. Yeah, so best friend romantic lover, I love Citrine. That's a lot of support you're providing there, bud, and I appreciate it. Citrine has one of my favorite mechanics, which is her like little crystal growths on recrystallize, which is her ult. That's the ult augment name. Crystallize might be the anyway. I love Citrine. I love Citrine's kit. I love having DR. I love energy. Everything about Citrine I love. This is one of my favorite supports in the whole game. Cool damage mechanics, cool support mechanics. Having a Citrine on my team makes me infinitely happy. And also her fashion frame is pretty whack. So unless you ever skin, which means if you like Citrine, you love Citrine, and you want to play Citrine. I like that. Degath. I don't see anyone talk about Degath. I gotta put her in coworker too. I don't know anything. I know the mains are pretty passionate, so I'll put her in friend, but I really know nothing about this frame, keeping it real. Ember players irk me a little bit, so you're going down to coworker. It's for reasons similar to Equinox. Like, I understand you can equip Omori or Eclipse or Roar or Nourish over her 4 and make the kit work. I get that, but this frame desperately needs some sort of adjustment to Inferno. And so yeah, that comment section like bothered me just a little bit. But yeah, this frame's fun, and I like that heirloom skin too, dude. Listen, I'm no better. I'm no better than you, but I do think that you know, Ember players, while I respect what you do, this frame needs help a lot. And some of you refuse to acknowledge that, and so you get the coworker tier, which is like isn't an insult. Frost. I love having infinite overguard. And yeah, most Frost builds will run both of his augments, which are Freeze Force and Icy Avalanche. And that means you are getting a bunch of cold, which is good for freezing enemies, good for crit damage. Or is it crit chance? I think it's crit chance. I'm not really sure. No, it's crit damage. Frost is crit damage. Cold is crit damage. So you get extra crit damage effectively. You get extra raw damage on top of with Freeze Force, and then obviously Icy Avalanche just gives you infinite overguard, freezes the whole map. Snow Globe's great. You like Frost, despite his name, is a very warm embrace, similar to Nova's Molecular Prime. Mesa, pretty selfish frame, I'm not gonna lie. That's a coworker. That's someone who's doing their own thing, and I like that. You're doing your own thing. You're not really helping me out much. Shooting Gallery is nice. If you got Muzzle Flash, that's cool. I use Muzzle Flash personally because I think it's a great augment. But yeah, you know, kind of whatever. Nyx is in the same coworker category, where it's just like, you know, she has the more ethical version of invulnerability that Revenant has, which makes you kind of want to put her into stinky tier, but Eleanor would be really upset with me if I did that, so I don't think I should do that. Sevagoth. Ooh, Sevagoth irks me, but coworker's fair. Obviously, 100%, you know, max health true damage nuke is going to be great. Gloom is a pretty good ability, slowing down the map for your team. He's pretty selfish and pretty chill, but I mean, I like him. And people that like him, you know, I know why you like him, and I totally get it. Ooh, Titania! I love Titania. You know, this is the same thing. This is the same thing as Gauss, the same thing as Volt. You need speed, and that I can appreciate about you, especially when you know, Gauss and Volt have a lot more complete kits that can do other things besides speed. Titania like did some sort of like divine intervention and sacrificed the rest of her kit just for speed, and I respect that beyond belief. And last but not least, Valkyr. Valkyr I'll pop in coworker tier, probably. Yeah, that'll run them. That makes the list look a lot nicer. But yeah, Valkyr is a whole lot of fun to play, and the people that play her, they play for that rush of playing Valkyr. Valkyr is very much a dopamine machine Warframe, and I can get behind that absolutely. So that finishes our list. I know this video was a little bit unique and kind of funky. If you want more of this in the future, or there's something you didn't like about it, please leave that in the comments. The next video will be a more traditional guide or rework video, one or the other. Happy Thanksgiving. This video is scheduled to come out the Friday after Thanksgiving. Hopefully, if you guys celebrate that, hopefully we had fun. Otherwise, I hope you had a great day regardless. I have so much love for you guys. Thank you for the support, and I will see you in the next one. Much love. Talk to you soon.